The hall was dark, filled with the noise of hundreds of alien voices. The air was heavy with smoke and greed. Strange lights glowed on the walls, showing the faces of creatures from every corner of the galaxy. They had come not for trade or peace, but for something cruel. They came to watch lives being sold. A long platform stood in the center. On it, a metal cage opened slowly, its doors groaning like a beast waking from sleep. From inside, a girl was pushed out. Her steps were weak, her eyes wide with fear. She was not dressed, not even given the chance to hide her shame. Her arms shook as she tried to cover herself. The crowd roared. Some laughed, some shouted numbers, others banged their claws or hands against the seats. To them, she was not a person. She was a prize, an object, a toy. The auctioneer, a tall alien with skin like stone, raised his arms and shouted, "Behold! Rare, fragile, perfect for display or pleasure. Who will begin the bid?" The girl's eyes searched the sea of faces. None of them looked kind. Their stares burned her like fire. She felt smaller with every passing second, her hope breaking. Then, from the back of the hall, someone moved. A tall figure stepped out of the shadows. Unlike the others, he wore no jewelry, no bright colors, no alien symbols. He wore simple black clothing and a cloak draped over his shoulders. His face was calm, cold, and human. A ripple of shock spread through the hall. A human? Here? Whispers filled the crowd. What is he doing here? Humans do not join auctions. Is this a trick? The auctioneer grinned, thinking this would only raise the tension. Ah, even a human has come to see her. Value. Let the bidding begin. Numbers flew through the air. Voices shouted louder and louder. 2,000 credits, 4,000. 6. The alien bidders pushed each other, desperate to win. The girl shook as the numbers climbed higher, fear tightening her chest. But then, silence. The human raised his hand. The hall froze. Every eye turned toward him. His voice was steady, deep, and carried across the room. 10,000. The girl's heart stopped. 10,000? For her? The aliens hissed and growled. Some laughed, others cursed. Why would a human waste so much? Is he mad? He will regret this. The auctioneer's stone-like mouth curled into a smile. 10,000. Do we have more? He waited, but no one dared. The human's presence was heavy, his calm stare unsettling. Slowly, the auctioneer slammed his staff against the ground. Sold! The cage was opened fully. The girl stumbled forward, forced closer to the human who had bought her. Her body trembled. She could not understand. Was he like the others? Did he want to own her too? But when she reached him, something strange happened. The human unclasped his cloak. Without a word, he placed it around her shoulders, covering her body. The fabric was heavy, warm, and soft compared to the cold air. For the first time that night, she felt hidden, safe, human again. The crowd erupted in chaos. What is he doing? Covering her? Humans are fools. The auctioneer slammed his staff again, demanding order, but no one listened. The human ignored them all. His eyes stayed on the girl, not with desire, but with quiet strength. He whispered only one sentence, low enough that only she could hear. You are safe now. Her knees almost gave out. Safe? The word felt like a dream. No one had spoken to her like that in a long time. The human placed one steady hand on her shoulder and guided her toward the exit. The aliens shouted, some mocking, some angry, that they had lost the bid. But the human did not look back. As they walked, the girl clutched the cloak tightly, her eyes filling with tears. She still did not know why he had saved her, or what his true reason was. But for the first time since she was captured, she felt a spark of hope inside her chest. The hall, behind them, shook with noise. Some aliens swore revenge, others whispered warnings. The name of human spread like fire through the crowd. For them, this was no simple purchase. It was something greater, something dangerous. And as the girl walked beside him, heart racing, one thought echoed in her mind. Why would a human care for someone like me? The answer was hidden, waiting in the shadows of what was to come. The hall was still buzzing with voices long after the human walked out with the girl. The auctioneer tried to calm the angry bidders, but no one listened. Whispers spread like smoke. Why would a human pay such a high price? Why cover her instead of using her? Nothing made sense. But outside the auction house, the girl's heart still raced. She clutched the cloak tighter around her small frame, afraid that at any moment it might all vanish, that the human's kindness was only a cruel trick. She looked up at him, but his face was unreadable, like stone carved by war. He led her down the narrow streets of the alien city. Strange neon lights flickered above, shadows stretched across walls, and dangerous eyes watched from the dark. The girl tried to speak, her voice trembling. Why did you? The human stopped, his boots echoing against the stone. He turned his head slightly, not enough to reveal his emotions, but enough for her to feel the weight of his words. Because no one else would. Those words struck her deeper than she expected. She opened her mouth to ask more, but before she could, loud footsteps filled the street behind them. A group of aliens, strong and angry, rushed forward. They were bidders who had lost, their faces twisted with hate. "Human," one shouted, his voice sharp like broken glass. "Give her back, she is not yours." The human did not flinch. His calm stare met their fury. The girl stepped back, fear rising again. She had seen these aliens before inside the hall, the ones who laughed at her suffering, the ones who wanted her for themselves. The leader of the group spat on the ground. "You think you can shame us? You think humans are heroes? You are nothing. Here, give her back or we take her." The human moved slightly, pushing the girl behind him. His hand reached under his cloak and the faint glint of metal appeared. Not a whip, not a chain, but a weapon. A human weapon. The crowd of aliens froze for a moment. They had heard the stories of human weapons, human soldiers, human wars. But still, their pride burned too strong. One of them lunged forward with a blade. The human's hand moved faster than sight. A single flash of light, a sharp sound, and the alien dropped to the ground, his weapon clattering beside him. The others stepped back instantly. The girl gasped. She had never seen such speed, such precision. The human's face remained cold, his eyes never blinking. He pointed his weapon at the group. His voice was low, steady, deadly. "Try again, and you will not leave this street." For a moment, silence. Then slowly the aliens retreated, muttering threats under their breath but too afraid to strike again. The shadows swallowed them as they disappeared into the distance. The girl clutched the cloak tighter, her body shaking. She could hardly believe what had just happened. This human had not only bought her, he had fought for her, protected her. She looked at him again, but he did not meet her eyes. Instead, he kept walking as if nothing had happened. She hurried after him, her voice breaking. Why protect me? You don't even know me." Finally, he stopped. His gaze turned toward the endless sky above the alien city. The stars glimmered faintly through the smoke. He spoke slowly, like each word carried the weight of history. "Because humans do not let cruelty stand. Because you are not a thing to be owned. You are a life, and that is enough." The girl's chest tightened. No one had ever spoken about her like that. For so long she had been treated as nothing, less than nothing. But in his voice, she heard something new. Respect. They continued walking until they reached the edge of the city. Strange towers stretched into the distance, but beyond them the silent spaceport glowed. Ships waited like giant shadows, their engines humming softly. The girl's fear slowly mixed with curiosity. Who was this human? Was he a soldier, a wanderer, or something more? And what would he do with her now? As they approached the spaceport gates, guards stepped forward, their weapons raised. They eyed the human and the cloaked girl suspiciously. One of them barked, "State your business. Slaves are not allowed out without approval." The human's jaw tightened. His eyes burned with quiet fire. He reached into his cloak and pulled out a small device. With a click, a holographic seal appeared, an emblem the guards instantly recognized. Their faces changed. Fear replaced suspicion. They lowered their weapons at once, stepping aside. The girl caught a glimpse of the emblem, the mark of the Terran Alliance. Her eyes widened. He was not just any human. He carried the authority of all of humanity. As they passed through, she whispered, almost in disbelief, Who are you really?" He did not answer at first. Only after they entered the silent halls of the spaceport did he speak, his voice low but firm. "I am human, and that is all that matters." The girl felt her heart pound. She realized her life was no longer the same. She was no longer alone, no longer property. But she also sensed something greater, something bigger than both of them waiting in the stars. And in that moment, one thought took root in her mind. If even a single human could change her fate so completely, what would happen if the galaxy had to face all of humanity? The spaceport doors closed behind them, muting the noise of the alien city. The girl held the cloak tighter, her fingers gripping the fabric as if it were the only thing keeping her alive. For so long she had been displayed, mocked, treated like less than dust. But now, she was covered. Not hidden in chains, not disguised as property, but protected. She walked close to the human, still uncertain. Every step felt unreal. Her heart whispered questions she could not silence. Why cover her? Why risk his life? Why did he care at all? The Spaceport Hall stretched wide, glowing with dim lights. Aliens from different worlds passed by, some glancing curiously at the pair. Their eyes lingered not on the human but on the girl wrapped in his cloak. Whispers began again. She should be chained, not dressed. Why does he protect her like a child? Humans, always breaking rules. The human ignored them. His boots echoed against the metal floor, his shoulders steady. The girl tried to match his steps, though her legs shook with each movement. Finally, she whispered, her voice raw. You gave me your cloak." He stopped, turning to face her. His eyes, sharp and cold, softened just slightly. "Because you deserved more than shame." Her breath caught. Simple words, but they struck like lightning. No one had ever said she deserved anything. Not food, not rest, not even life. To hear it now, from someone who could have treated her as an object, left her stunned. But before she could respond, a loud hiss echoed through the hall. A group of alien guards blocked their path. Their armor clanked, weapons drawn. The leader's eyes glowed faintly as he scanned the human. "Release the slave. She is not free to leave. She belongs to the house that sold her." The girl froze. Fear surged through her chest again. She clutched the cloak tighter, as if hiding beneath it would protect her. The human's jaw tightened. His voice was steady, calm, but carried a weight that silenced the hall. "She belongs to no one." The guards laughed, their cruel voices bouncing off the walls. One of them stepped closer, pointing a blade at the girl. "Then she belongs to us again." In one motion, the human stepped forward. His hand moved faster than their eyes could follow. He gripped the alien's wrist, twisted, and the blade clattered to the floor. His voice turned into steel. "Touch her again, and you will not have a hand left." The hall went silent. The guards hesitated, eyes flickering with doubt. The mark of the Terran Alliance still glowed faintly on the device at his belt. They had heard the stories too, of humans who fought not for gold or glory, but for honor, and honor made them dangerous. Reluctantly, the guards stepped back. Their leader snarled but signaled retreat. The human did not move until they disappeared into the shadows. The girl's knees nearly buckled. Her body trembled, not just from fear, but from shock. This human had not only bought her, he had shielded her, defended her, stood against the galaxy for her. She whispered, barely audible, "Why me? Why save me?" He looked at her, and for the first time his expression softened, with something like sorrow. Because too many look away. Because you needed someone who would not. Her chest tightened. Tears welled in her eyes, but she quickly turned her face, afraid to show weakness. Still, inside her, something fragile stirred. Something she thought was gone forever. Hope. They continued walking toward a docking bay. A large human vessel waited there, its dark hull marked with scars of past battles. Its engines hummed like a beast ready to rise. The girl stared at it in awe. She had never seen a human ship up close. It looked powerful, untouchable. As they approached, a crew of humans appeared at the ramp. They looked at the girl, their eyes questioning but not cruel. One of them, a woman with short hair and a sharp gaze, asked quietly, "Another one?" The man gave a slight nod. "She comes. With us." No one argued. No one mocked. Instead, the woman stepped forward and offered the girl a hand. "You're safe here." The girl's throat tightened. She could not speak, but she reached out, trembling, and took the hand. Warm. Steady. Real. She walked up the ramp, the cloak still wrapped tightly around her. For the first time, she felt not like a thing to be sold, but like a person walking toward a future she could not yet imagine. Behind her, the human paused, his gaze turning back to the city. Shadows lingered, and whispers of alien anger echoed, faintly in the distance. He knew this was not over. The galaxy had seen what he had done, and they would not forget. But neither would the girl. She turned once, looking at him as he followed her aboard. In her eyes, fear slowly faded, replaced with something stronger, trust. The ship's doors closed, sealing them inside. The engines roared, lifting them from the cursed world. And though she did not yet understand it, her rescue was not only her story. It was the beginning of a message that would spread across the stars. Humanity does not buy to use. Humanity buys to save. The human ship cut through the black sea of space, engines burning bright against the void. Inside, the air was cleaner, calmer, but the girl could not relax. She sat in a quiet corner, wrapped in the cloak as if it were her second skin. Every sound of the ship, the hum of engines, the click of boots on metal floors, made her tense. She watched the crew move with discipline. They were human, yet different from the stories told in the markets and slave pens. Aliens often whispered that humans were monsters, too violent, too dangerous to trust. But these humans, they did not laugh at her, did not stare at her with hunger. They worked, focused, and when they looked at her, it was with quiet respect. Still, she could not understand. Why save her? Why risk so much for someone like her? The man who had bought her stood near the front of the cabin, speaking with his crew. His voice was calm, low, but carried a strength that made others listen. From time to time, his eyes shifted, back to her, as if making sure she was still there. Finally, when the ship steadied into open space, he walked toward her. She stiffened, pulling the cloak tighter. He stopped just a step away, his shadow falling over her. "You are safe here," he said quietly. She swallowed hard. Her voice cracked when she spoke. "Safe? Why? You don't even know me." For a long moment he said nothing. His eyes, sharp like iron, softened. He knelt down so he was closer to her level, not towering above her. "Because I know what it means to be treated as nothing," he said. "And I will not let it happen. Again." Her breath caught. Again? Did that mean he had seen it before? Felt it before? He reached into his cloak and pulled out a small device, pressing a button. A hologram flickered to life, glowing faintly in the air. The image showed rows of cages filled not with aliens but with humans, captured, displayed, auctioned. Her heart froze. "These," he said, his voice heavy, "were taken years ago. My people know the cruelty of the galaxy. They tried to break us too, but we fought back." The girl's hands shook. She looked at the hologram, then back at him. "And you won?" He gave a single nod. "We always win. Not because we are the strongest, but because we never forget who we are, and we never forget what is right." Her chest tightened. The weight of his words pressed into her heart. For the first time she understood, this was not only about her, this was about something far greater. The ship suddenly jolted. Warning. Lights flashed across the cabin. A voice from the cockpit called out, "Enemy vessels in pursuit." Her blood turned cold. She gripped the edge of her seat, eyes wide. Of course they would follow. The aliens who lost her at the auction would not give up so easily. The man stood tall, his cloak shifting as he moved toward the command seat. "Shields up. Weapons ready. Do not fire unless they strike first." Through the small viewing window, the girl saw them, sleek alien ships cutting through the darkness, their engines glowing like angry eyes. They circled, hunting like predators. Her body shook. "They'll take me back," she whispered, her voice breaking. "They'll take me back." The man turned, his voice cutting through her fear. "No, they will never touch you again." The ship shook again as enemy fire scraped against the shields. Sparks rained down from the ceiling. The crew moved fast, shouting coordinates, firing bursts of counterlight. The girl clutched the cloak tighter, her heart racing, every sound louder than the last. But the human captain, he did not flinch. His voice stayed calm, steady, guiding his crew through the storm. With every command, the human ship twisted, turned, dodged the attacks. And when he gave the signal, their weapons roared back with precision. One alien ship exploded in a burst of fire. Another fled into the shadows. The rest, shaken by the human's skill, pulled back, engines burning as they retreated into the void. Silence fell inside the cabin, broken only by the soft hum of the engines. The girl's breath came fast, her chest rising and falling. She stared at the human, unable to believe what she had seen. Against greater numbers, against ships built for hunting, they had survived. The man finally turned back to her. His voice was quiet but powerful. "Now you see, humanity does not run. Humanity protects." Tears filled her eyes, but not from fear. For the first time, they came from something else. Relief. She whispered, I thought no one would ever save me. I thought I was nothing." He stepped closer, his gaze unwavering. "You were never nothing. The galaxy may try to tell you otherwise, but humanity sees the truth." Her throat tightened. She lowered her head, clutching the cloak closer, hiding her tears. But deep inside, a new fire sparked. A fire that whispered maybe, just maybe, her life was worth more than chains, more than shame. And as the ship sailed deeper into the stars, she knew one thing for certain. The truth of humanity was not only strength, not only weapons. It was something the galaxy had forgotten. Compassion. And compassion, she realized, was far more powerful than fear. The human ship drifted into calmer space, leaving the battlefield behind. The engines hummed steady, the glow of stars shining on the dark hull. Inside, the crew returned to their stations, silent but steady. They had faced danger, and once again, they had stood unbroken. The girl sat in the cabin, still wrapped in the cloak. Her body was tired, her eyes heavy, but her mind refused to rest. Every moment replayed in her head, the laughter of the crowd, the cold floor of the auction, the human's hand raising in silence, the cloak around her shoulders, and the battle in the void. Each memory felt like a scar, but now those scars were stitched with something she had never known before. Hope, the man, her rescuer, stood near the front, staring at the stars. His posture was calm, but there was a fire in his eyes, a storm hidden beneath the surface. The crew spoke softly, but every now and then they looked at him, waiting for his word. He was more than their leader. He was their anchor. Finally, the girl spoke, her voice trembling but determined. "You risked everything for me. Why? I was nothing to them. Why would a human care?" He turned, his gaze meeting hers. His answer was quiet, but it carried through the ship. Because humanity remembers. We remember when we were slaves. When others tried to chain us, sell us, break us. We remember the taste of shame, and we swore never again, not for us, not for anyone. Her lips parted. She had never heard words so heavy, so alive. It was not pity. It was not pride. It was a promise. He walked closer, kneeling so his eyes were level with hers. When I saw you on that stage, I saw every human who once stood there, and I knew I could not walk away. To save you is to prove to the galaxy that humanity is not like them. Her chest tightened. Tears welled in her eyes, spilling down her cheeks. She clutched the cloak, unable to speak, unable to thank him in any way that felt enough. But even as they spoke, the galaxy stirred. News of the auction spread like wildfire. Stories twisted in every direction. Some aliens mocked, saying the human was a fool, weak for wasting credits. Others whispered fearfully, saying humanity's actions meant something greater. In the grand halls of the Galactic Council, voices rose in anger. Humans break order. They shame our traditions. They will spread their chaos to every world. But in the shadows, some whispered something different. Perhaps they are not monsters. Perhaps they are more. Back on the ship, the crew gathered in the common hall. The rescued girl sat among them, uncertain, nervous. But the humans welcomed her without question. They offered food, water, and warmth. One even smiled at her, saying, "No chains here. You're free." The word struck deeper than blades. Free. She had not heard that word in so long it felt almost foreign. But now, it was real. The man stood before his crew, his cloak draped loosely, his voice calm yet strong. The galaxy watches us. They expect us to be like them, to buy, to own, to humiliate. But humanity is not here to repeat their cruelty. We are here to show them what they have forgotten. He looked at the girl, his eyes steady. Dignity, honor, compassion, that is our strength. The crew pounded their fists on the table, a rhythm of agreement. The girl's heart shook. She realized this was more than rescue. This was a message to the stars carried not by words but by action. The ship sailed onward, deeper into human space. On every channel, whispers grew louder. Some feared humanity's weapons. But now they feared something greater, their morality. For a species that refused to bend to cruelty could not be controlled. The girl stood on the viewing deck, stars stretching endlessly before her. The man joined her, silent. She turned, voice soft. "You changed my life, but what you did, it will change the galaxy." He gave a faint smile, rare and sharp. One life at a time. That is how humanity wins. The ship roared into the dark, carrying its crew and its newest passenger. Behind them, the galaxy trembled, not from war, not from destruction, but from something far stronger, from the truth that humanity had returned, not as conquerors, not as slaves, but as the guardians of dignity in a galaxy that had forgotten it. And in that truth, every world would learn a lesson they could not ignore. Humanity does not buy to own. Humanity buys to save.